Hello beautiful people, today is 25th of September. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Now guys, first of all, let's have a look on today's GS folder. So today we'll see a quote from Ban Ki-moon, the former United Nations Secretary General. He says, saving our planet, lifting people out of poverty, advancing economic growth, these are the one and the same fight. So guys, it has been said that all these three are the part of one systemic problem and a kind of an integrated approach is needed by which we can bring the economic growth. By that economic growth, enough of the wealth will be generated, and from that wealth, people can be brought out from the poverty, and at the same time, that wealth, that human resource can also work, that how the sustainable solutions for the development can be brought so that the environment also can be conserved. So guys, whenever we talk about the sustainable development, all these three things come together. So guys, that's it. We can utilize this particular understanding in our GS paper number 3 as well as into the topics of essay. So guys, that's it. And now let's have the newspaper analysis.
Now guys, first of all, let's see the overview of the entire newspaper first. Now here we can see that Harley is shutting down Indian production as well as sales. So guys, with respect to the exit of automobile sector, we'll see certain points here. Then guys, here we can see that the SAARC and CICA meets have concluded. So we'll see just overview of this particular thing. Then guys, the other news is with respect to the India PLA confrontation that is going on, however not needed everyday's development. Then guys, the city section, nothing important. However guys, here the biodecomposer technique has been mentioned, which you will utilize into the stubble burning problem which causes the winter pollution. Then guys, moving forward, so as then we move to the next editorial page. Here we can see that the issue of the China India engagement onto the LSE is going on, and in that particular respect some disengagement is being expected. Then guys, this article also talks about the India and China going issue. However, I will recommend that please don't read everyday article, because only the same line they are repeating, and much larger number of articles already we had seen here. Then guys, this article talks about the FCR amendment. This article talks about the health worker safety. We'll see them. Then guys, moving forward, the farm bill has been mentioned guys 3-4 times into the last week. We have already discussed all these issues. Then guys, this article talks about the environmentalism, so we'll see. Then moving forward, so guys, as here we can see that only rising number of COVID etc has been mentioned, not important for our exam. Then guys, again the political news, COVID, not important. Then the showcase page. Moving forward, here guys, we can see that China has cautioned with respect to the G4 push, so we'll see that what they are talking about. Then guys, the extension of the IBC for next 3 more months have been mentioned. After that, the sports page, the IPL related news, not important for our exam. So friends, that's it, and now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail.
Now guys, taking up the first news. So this particular news has a big implication for the economic growth that India is now aspiring to look forward into the aftermath of economic contraction that has happened. So guys, just few days we had seen that 23.9% economic contraction was there into the aftermath of the pandemic. Now guys, here this particular news provides that the Harley Davidson motorcycle American brand is shutting down its manufacturing as well as sales into the India. Now this particular thing points out to a bigger crisis that is going into India, that is the exit of the automobile segment from the Indian manufacturing. Now guys, moving beyond the scope of this particular news item, if I tell you, then guys, in 2017, General Motors, one of the biggest car manufacturing brand of the world and the biggest into the USA, they pulled out from India. General Motors were selling under the brand name of Chevrolet in India. They had withdrawn. However, their manufacturing unit was functional, and now they had said that even the manufacturing plant will be closed by this year end. Then guys, just a few days back, Toyota Kirloskar, it had said that now they will not be expanding into the India and will only be focusing onto the into the cities where they have already expanded, and moreover they will also try to consolidate their operations. And after this, now we can see the incident of the Harley shutting down. Now guys, whenever we talk about India's economic growth, we bring the manufacturing sector, because manufacturing sector is one which has huge implication. It can absorb more and more number of people. See, our agriculture sector has become saturated and it is facing the problem of disguised unemployment. People, they are proportionally high into the agriculture sector. We cannot diverse them into the service sector because service sector needs a specific skill set. Moreover, the desirability of actual human power is not that much into the service. So therefore, only viable option is the manufacturing sector. And within the manufacturing, automobile manufacturing happens to be a very important stakeholder. And guys, by this particular thing, India's make in India, India's manufacturing sector and the space where we can employ our demographic dividend will be restricting. So guys, government should be very much apprehensive to all these kind of things. And see, if you remember, when we talked about the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, it was said that as industries are exiting from China, we need to attract them. But rather than attracting them, we are losing even the industries which we have right now. So guys, here government need to work onto the systemic reforms. And whenever you are writing about the economic prospects or economic challenges in India, we can provide this particular dimension as a reference, and when we can give these contemporary examples also. Now, how government can work into this particular direction? So guys, first of all, government need to bring a kind of an economic growth prospects back into the economy. How it can be done? Government need to provide the fiscal stimulus to the economy. Government need to put money directly into the hand of the consumers so that their aggregate demand increases, and when the demand will be increase, these industries will find a kind of a base to whom they can supply. After that, guys, what need to be done? When this Harley Davidson is pulling back, they had cited one particular reason, that India's paying basically purchasing capacity of Indian customers is still very low. So at the same time, we also need to focus that per capita income, how it can be enhanced. Now, when we talk about per capita income, guys, there is one very fundamental problem in India. See, 90% of our workforce, it is into the informal sector, and the informal sector jobs, they are erratic, they are less paying when compared to the formal sector jobs. So guys, India also needs to work onto the formal sector jobs into the long term, so that the purchasing capacity of our demography, our population can increase. Moreover, guys, coming specifically to the automobile sector, we can work by bringing the tax reforms for these industries. We can work by giving them the concessions with respect to the manufacturing in India. We can provide them the stable policy regime, as well as to attract more automobile sectors, automobile companies in India. We can provide them the land clear, we can provide them the subsidized land, labor laws needs to be streamlined, electricity tariff needs to be streamlined, and all such kind of things are needed to be done. So guys, just a very small piece of article, but it has big implications. So guys, that's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about the recent virtual meet of the SAARC and CICA. Now, first of all, into the meet, nothing very substantial has came out. Just the India and Pakistan had accused each other that the countries are not resorting to the friendly neighborhood policies, and their basically their stand onto their internal matters needs to be considered even more. So, guys, such kind of thing has happened, which is not important for our UPSC exam. However, only important thing coming out of this article is know about these two meets. Now, first of all, when we talk about the CICA, CICA stands for the Conference on Interaction and Confidence Building Measures in Asia. Now, it is an intergovernmental forum which have 27 members throughout the Asia, and their objective is this, that the peace, security and stability, they all are linked together and should be preserved. So guys, the economic, basically the security partnership, economy partnership, all such kind of things were taken. So as 27 members are there, India is a member. You need not to see all members, because then it will not be possible to keep it into your mind. Now guys, further talking about the SAARC. So SAARC has 8 members, that is the Afghanistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Now guys, when we are talking about the members, you need to keep in your mind that Afghanistan is the latest member which has joined SAARC. Then guys, the secretariat of the SAARC is in Kathmandu, Nepal. And when we talk about the SAARC, one thing guys you need to keep in mind, see, SAARC, I'll tell you certain facts. It has 3% of the, basically the countries of the SAARC, they have 3% of the land area, one. Secondly, they have 21% of the population. Is it clear? And the countries into the SAARC, they are one of the most promising countries with respect to the growth. But still, if we see, the SAARC has not taken up the or has not reaped up the low hanging fruits which were expected to be reaped. That basically the FTA between the SAARC members, it has not been materialized. The trade between the members, it has not been materialized. Moreover, guys, their summit have also been very much erratic, and most of the time nothing conclusive is coming out. So first of all, as we are talking about the SAARC, there are certain challenges which the SAARC is facing. Now, guys, the first challenge the SAARC is facing is that India and Pakistan both are the members of the SAARC, and most of the time the talks, they are either derailed or nothing meaningful thing is achieved because of the perceptions towards the each other. So these kind of relations are coming in between. Second reason, guys, the China is not the member of the SAARC. Now, basically, when the SAARC was made, it was also a kind of a response against the China. But as China is not the member, many a time the China tries to influence the members in its own favor, and therefore there is nothing substantial which is coming out of the SAARC. Thirdly, guys, government as of India has also not paid much attention onto the SAARC and had basically focused on various other forums, for example, BIMSTEC, etc. It is more focusing, and SAARC has been neglected. But guys, seeing the potential, as I have told you, that it is a kind of a basic forum of emerging economies, much benefit could be attained, but it has not been done. Now, guys, what are the benefits of SAARC for India? See, SAARC is fulfilling India's neighborhood first policy, as all the neighbors of India, barring the China, they are being represented into the SAARC. Then, guys, it is a strategic arm also, because as China's ambitious projects such as One Belt, One Road, China's strangulation of India via the string of pearls by which China is building the infrastructure around the India, all such kind of things are needed to be countered. And for that particular thing, if our neighbors are in our confidence, we can do that thing very effectively. Therefore, SAARC also plays a strategic arm of India. Moreover, guys, by involving all the countries into such kind of dialogue, regional stability is also can be preserved. So, guys, that's all about the SAARC. However, as we are talking about SAARC, just recently when the COVID-19 pandemic began, SAARC has also established the SAARC Emergency Fund and the Rapid Response Team to fight the pandemic. So, guys, that's all about this. However, in meat, nothing conclusive has came. So, guys, that's all. Now we'll move to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article can be very important for our GS paper number 3. Now, every year around the Diwali festival, there is a news which is into the headlines, that is the winter pollution, which turns very worse into the Delhi. And because of this, Delhi has often been called as the gas chamber. Many a times the petition have been filed that because of the bad air, Citizens Article number 21, that is right to life, is being compromised and all such kind of things. Now, the reason for the winter pollution is the stubble burning that happens into the neighboring states of Punjab, Haryana, and some regions of the western Uttar Pradesh also. Now, guys, the reason for stubble burning is this, that the stubble, basically, this is the time when the Rabi crop, that is the wheat, majorly is to be sown. And this is also the time when the earlier crops, most of the time paddy, which has been matured. So, guys, harvesting of paddy and sowing of Rabi are in a very much close, basically, interval. And now, as the time is losing out, basically farmers, what they do, they simply burn the stubble. So for that particular thing, there are certain solutions. Solution number 1 here is that we can go for the direct seeding of rice. I have covered this particular thing into the earlier newspaper. What is the direct seeding of rice? You directly put the rice seed into the soil rather than raising them into the nursery. Now, guys, in that particular method, the rice matures earlier and more time is given to the farmer, in which he can remove the stubble. So that is one thing from a different attachment. Now, this particular article, it has provided one more alternative. What is this alternative? The bio decomposer technique. Now, guys, the Pusa Institute near the Rajendra Nagar of Delhi, the Pusa Institute has developed a technique where they have made a kind of a liquid formulation. So, this liquid formulation, it will be having decomposer capsules, jaggery, and other such materials. And this liquid solution, what it can be done, it can be sprayed onto the stubble which has been left over after the paddy has been harvested. And within some days, that stubble will automatically be melted down into the soil, and that melted down portion will further be enhancing the fertility of the soil. So, guys, basically, farmer will not be needed to incur any kind of cost. Moreover, this liquid formulation will also be provided at a very subsidized prices to the farmer. So, it can be a solution. First of all, by this particular thing, farms productivity will increase. Secondly, farmers cost will be reduced. Thirdly, winter pollution problem will also be reduced, as now this stubble will not be burnt. So, guys, all these things are there. Please keep it into your mind, and because if a question comes, we are needed to provide some those kind of points which everybody will not be writing. So please do utilize it. So that's it, friends. Now we'll move to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article talks about the FCRA amendment that government is carrying. First of all, I have taken this article earlier also. Now, guys, when we talk about the FCRA, I have told you that the FCRA stands for the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, and it is an act of 2010 which tries to control, curb or regulate the foreign funding that is coming in India, because many a times there have been reports that such foreign funding is used for the anti-developmental purposes. Now, under FCRA, all the NGOs, companies, they need to register themselves. Now, guys, under FCRA, now the bill has been raised in 2020, which lists down certain provisions. Provision number 1, the public servants have been made ineligible to receive any funding. Now, public servant and government servant are different. You need to keep this thing into your mind, and because of this particular thing, it has been criticized also. It has been said that if you are doing any work into the public spirit or into the public domain, you might be branded as a public servant, and therefore you might not be you might be barred from receiving the foreign funding. Then, guys, Aadhaar card is mandatory. Then third is that you need to use a maximum of 20% of your foreign funding for administrative purposes. Now, there are certain NGOs which are entirely think tank based. So there much of the expenditure is not into the field work, rather for the administrative expenditure is there. So, guys, that is a problem. Earlier, this administrative expenditure limit was 50%. Then, guys, next is that the government holds a provision that they can inquire into the conduct of any FCRA, and if they found that they are not using the fund for the intended purpose, they can bar their license. Now, this provision is very much ambiguous. Fine, and many times by misusing it, government might be banning certain NGOs. Earlier also it has done. For example, the Greenpeace, its accounts were suspended or were frozen for a substantial time. Then, guys, it has been said that the funds that one company or one NGO or one organization is receiving, it cannot transfer it to the other organization. So this is also a provision which has been criticized. It has been said that there are certain large number of grassroots NGOs which are not having viable sources of fund. So those hundreds, thousands of NGOs are depending on some big NGOs. So by this particular thing, there will be problem to those kind of NGOs. Now, the article says that such basically apprehension onto the role of NGO by the government is unfounded. Now, just the government provided that such stringent FCRA norms they are bringing because they had sensed that the religious conversion is going on into the India by these NGOs. Now, guys, it has been said that if only one such kind of reason might not be suitable enough to ban or to regulate such large number of NGOs which are dependent on it. Moreover, it has been said that the International Commission of Jurists had said that the new bill is incompatible with the international norms as well as various international covenants that India has itself signed. Therefore, such thing is not showing a very good side of India's democracy. After that, now, it has been said that we often say Vasudev Kutumbakam, and Vasudev Kutumbakam means that world is a global village, or basically it shows that India embraces the globalization, any kind of foreign forces by the open arms, and such kind of attitude doesn't goes well in sync with the ideology of Vasudev Kutumbakam. After that, guys, it has been said that India, basically government, has most of the time been being very kind of conservative with the ideas such as the environmentalism, human rights, civil liberties, and basically controlling them is the major reason to control the FCRA. Is it clear? But such kind of understanding is not appreciated into a democratic setup. So, guys, such kind of things have been provided, and as NGOs are a clearly written topic under our GS paper number 2, and NGOs are very much closely linked with this FCRA, there could be a question onto such line into the exam. So, please keep it in your mind. So, friends, that's it. Now we move to the next article. Now, this particular article talks about the safety of the health workers. Is it clear? Now, guys, this is some kind of a different dimension which has been provided. See, there are certain data which have been provided in article. Number one, it has been said that 1 out of every 10 patient, they receive some harm into the healthcare facilities where they went for their treatment. Now, 10% of the people are facing such kind of harmful problems. Then the next is that 2/3 injections in India, they are administered into unsafe kind of manner. Fine. And guys, it has been said that this particular year, WHO, World Health Organization, which celebrates World Patient Safety Day every year, it has declared the health workers' safety as a theme. What is the relation between these two things? See, such kind of basically such kind of negligence which is happening into the healthcare facilities, due to which the patients are suffering, it is because of the negligence of the health staff. Now, why the health staff is negligent? Because, guys, the health staff many a time it is over exhausted, it is not able to apprehend the communication into the right manner, it is not able to apprehend the basic standard operating procedure. Why? Because so much of work pressure is basically imposed onto the health force workers that they are not able to perform very into a very effective kind of manner. Now, guys, it has been said that unsafe health practices, unsafe and unnecessary procedures, as well as wrong medications, they are often given into the hospitals. You yourself might have also been observed by this particular thing. Guys, it has been said that these human errors which are committing them, they happen due to the over exhausted health workers. Moreover, the work culture into the hospitals is not good, and such kind of thing has further been exaggerated by the coming of the COVID-19. Now, guys, such kind of poor work culture is not only bad for the patients, but it is also bad for the health workers itself. Why? Because in such kind of poor work culture, many a times the sexual assault, physical assault, mental assault, all of them, they are to be faced by the workforce also. Now, guys, it has been said that apart from this also, into the health workforce, a strict hierarchy is also existing in India. And because of this strict hierarchy also, many a times the lower level of health workers, they face further kind of problems. Further, these problems are even compounded by the issues such as the lack of staff. We know that the availability of doctors as well as nurses is very low. Then there is no proper audits into the hospital, their conduct, their procedures, and it further basically breeds the ground where such kind of practices can go. After that, the equipment into the hospitals, it is very poorly maintained, due to which again some kind substandard kind of services are given. And finally, the poor training of health staff also further reduces their efficiency. So, guys, it has been said that the health workers staff in our country is into a very bad shape. So, guys, systemic reforms are needed at every segment. Now, what we mean by every segment? We can give you one example. See, with respect to the patient management, this is a patient management is one segment. Now, into this, how reform will work? We need to break this segment into as many parts as possible. So, this patient segment we can break in three parts. That is the input, throughput and output. Input means the patients who are being admitted. So at that point of time, you need to see that who actually needs to be admitted, and if they needs to be admitted, who actually needs to be referred to the ICU. ICU should not be utilized just because the beds were not vacant into the general ward. Then guys, after that, throughput. Now throughput means that the patient, as soon as their need for the ICU or the hospital bed is fulfilled, they needs to be they need to go out. After that, into this particular process, when they are into the hospital, their proper care is needed to be given. Then guys, in output we need to see that whether the patients are not spending more time because the clearances have not been given with respect to their discharge, whether they are just being kept because the other general ward are not vacant, and all such kind of things. So guys, on such line, every little bit of component of the health needs to be reformed. So guys, policymakers need to work on such kind of line. So such thinking line has been provided. Now full-fledged question I'm not expecting on such kind of thing. It might come also because we know that UPSC has asked questions on such kind of themes which were earlier unexplored. But if any question onto the health comes, please guys provide this particular dimension also. So guys, that's all about this particular article. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about the issue of environmentalism and will be highly utilizable for our GS paper number 3 examination, where the ecology and environment has been mentioned. Now, when we talk about the environment, the idea of a sustainable environment management or sustainability has been very much popularized, particularly when the United Nations Millennium Development Goals were adopted in 2000, and at repeated intervals by the World Bank also. And right now we are seeing the Sustainable Development Goals, which started from 2015 and will go till 2030. So the sustainability has become the buzzword. Now, what does this word sustainability means? It means you should buy green, you should avoid the consumption, basically use of the hazardous materials, energy optimization, waste reduction, all such kind of things. Sustainability means that our future generations should also have all the resources that we had used. We should not overuse our resources, and basically the planet Earth should be given a kind of a compassionate treatment. All such are the tenets into the sustainable development. Now guys, such kind of ideas are being promoted, but it has been said that our firms or our economic engines, who are much more responsible for the environmental degradation, they have not been very much motivated by the sustainability ideas propagated by the United Nations, World Bank, etc. Now guys, still their notions are shaped by the economic gains, and because for the economic gains also they have adopted little bit of sustainabilism. How? They have just focused on to energy efficiency, they had focused on to the wastage reduction. Why? Because on to the other hand, apart from the sustainability, it will also be giving them the economic benefits. But guys, it has been said that such low hanging fruits also not only needed to be materialized, but they also need to completely reorganize, which they have failed. How they need to reorganize? Apart from all these things which I have told you, they need to go for the things such as the green procurement, green manufacturing, green distribution. At every step, the green component needs to be utilized, which they have failed. Now guys, it has been said that if the corporates or if the MNCs companies will embrace such kind of attitude, it will create a actual sense of environmentalism into the people, into the community, and actual idea of sustainability will be grasped by the people. So therefore guys, to have such kind of long lasting impacts, the corporates, they need to streamline their thinking with respect to the sustainability, and not only into the energy consumption, but at all segments such kind of thing needs to be put into their thinking. So friends, that's all about this particular article. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about the China's caution with respect to the G4 push. Now guys, this article can be utilized in our GS paper number 2 examination, GS paper number 2 a paper into the sections of the group international groupings as well as the reform for the international organizations. Now first of all, before moving anything into this particular direction, already on 18th of September, I had discussed this entire issue of the United Nations security reforms into the editorial which came. Now, what has happened? The G4, it means the countries such as the India, Brazil, Japan, and Germany. These four countries want that the United Nations Security Council's permanent seats needed to be expanded, which is now being held by the permanent five. They want that these permanent five members are not representing the nations, the continents such as Africa. They are not representing the Latin America region. They are not representing the majority of the Asia. Now, in population terms, Asia is such a big continent, but the representation has not been there. So, we want the reforms. So, this is the G4 group. Now, as G4 group is putting forward for the reforms, now China has made a caution. According to them, such kind of things should not be carried into the hurry. But actual reason for China's obstruction is the dilution which China might face if the UNSC reform comes, because China is also a permanent member into the United Nations Security Council. So guys, as already this particular entire article we have taken, so this is just the attachment that we'll do here. So guys, that's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular news pertains to GS paper number 3, economy section. Now here it has been said that government has further extended the insolvency and bankruptcy code pause by 3 months. Now, what is the insolvency and bankruptcy code first of all? Now friends, this is a kind of a mechanism that was installed by government in 2016 to expedite or to fasten the insolvency process and bankruptcy process in India. Now, first of all, whenever a company or a person is not able to pay back the liabilities from the assets that he is having, he can file for the insolvency. When he will file for the insolvency, the legally such kind of arrangement will be done. His persons or the company's assets will be sold. Whatever can be paid to the people who owe, who are ready to be paid back, money will be given to them, and then a kind of a status will be given to the person or to the company that they have turned bankrupt. Now, bankruptcy declaration needs to be very fast, because if the bankruptcy is not declared, then for substantial period they will hold some of the productive assets which could be utilized somewhere else. Fine. So therefore, bankruptcy was to be expedited. In 2016, we brought the mechanism, and as per the insolvency and bankruptcy code, as far as early, basically anytime the firm, the debtor, the creditor, employees, anybody can file for the insolvency. And the moment it will be filed, the insolvency resolution professional will try to revive the company or will try to liquidate the company. Fine. So all this thing has to be done into the time bound manner. Now guys, as we are into the present time, we can see that the COVID-19 pandemic is going on, lockdown was there, and economic miseries have been there. Now, if even now insolvency and bankruptcy code, if it will be allowed, then all the companies will either be liquidated or will be shut down. So therefore guys, into the March, government came out with the ordinance that for 6 months you cannot invoke the insolvency bankruptcy code for the companies. They can't be made a request that they need to be liquidated if they are not being able to pay back to their creditors, to the banks. Now, such provision is being now extended for the next 3 months. Is it clear? So 6 plus 3, it becomes the 9-month window. Guys, fine. Now, when we talk about the insolvency and bankruptcy, government had earlier introduced it as an ordinance and now had introduced it as a bill into the parliament also. Fine. So guys, it is just that kind of thing. You just need to keep it in your mind. However, just a couple of days back, already this insolvency and bankruptcy code bill we had seen when it was placed into the Rajya Sabha. So guys, that's all about this particular article. I hope you have understood. No need to go into the nitty-gritties into such kind of thing. It is just a kind of a technical arrangement which is being made. So friends, that's all. I hope you have understood all these articles, and now we'll move to the question section.
Now friends, please pause the video and try to answer the question. Question number 1 is with respect to the State Disaster Response Fund. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. Question number 2 is with respect to the Open Skies Treaty. Please read the statements and identify the true code. Now guys, question number 3 is with respect to the Human Capital Index. Please read the right option. Now, the question number 4 talks about the NCRT. Please read these statements and identify the incorrect code. So, guys, that's all about the question sections. I hope you are liking our discussion. Thank you so much.